अमन्मोहाभ्यये नमः।
अनंतानंद कृष्णाय
अनन्तानन्दकृष्णाय
कृष्णाय
जगन्मंगलमूर्तये
जगन्मङ्गलमूर्तये।
मङ्गलमूर्तये
Here, if I remember right, on verse 7, I think we've done part of the reading. Who will read?
I'll read, Swami.
Yes, please.
Possible.
Read
95.
the verse first.
Okay. Nahi banadritham drithe satvam narthe banam chitochitaha chit sambhedopi nadya sad rate tenaham advayaha.
The last word is the key to this. Tena aham
Tenaham
advayaha.
advayaha.
So he's literally coming to the last stage of showing the nature of I. Would you like to summarize what we've read so far? Where have we read up to?
95 page.
95 page, last paragraph.
Last.
Okay, fine. Till now, what we've understood, in fact, if you can take it from, anybody can take this from the second shloka, what is he trying to build up? And what have we read so far in this particular shloka? Can anybody do a little summation?
No.
Brahman is changeless, nirvikara. If Brahman were to become a samsari, that would imply transformation or limitation.
No. Don't start reading.
Okay.
I'd like somebody do a summary.
Summary, okay. Yeah. The only Brahman is the Satyam, and that is the only thing which is permanent. Everything else is Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. That is the sum and substance. Everything else is imposed on that. It is not real, actually.
Okay. Will somebody else elaborate on this, on how he is built from second shloka through to the shloka, and what is it that he's trying to prove in the shloka? Jaya, please. You have to unmute.
Yeah. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Yeah. So I think these verses till now is a clear description of my reality, right? So that is why we keep seeing aham, 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 right? Starting from verse 2, which was the grand declaration of the ultimate truth, which was Satchidananda, or we also understood it as Satyam Jnanam Anantam, right? The verse 3 was about the substratum, which is the Adhishthanam, because if you actually do the cause and effect analysis, then somewhere you have to stop and see that everything is happening within a changeless substratum. And that changeless substratum or adhishthanam is my reality, right? So the whole Jagat is an appearance in me in the sense consciousness, right? So consciousness, therefore, is the only absolute existence, absolute independent existence, right? And that, so I just went ahead and interpreted this because the subsequent verses correctly matched with this Satyam Jnanam Anantam, right? So if you take Satyam Jnanam Anantam, we saw that in detail also before. And if you particularly take Anantam, which is actually infinite, which is infinite means not finite, And then we saw it is not finite. Definition is not limited by space, time, and object. Desha kala vastu aparichinnaha. Right? Now, if you keep this in mind and then start looking at verse 4 onwards, 4 and 5 talk about I being eternal, nityaha. I am imperishable, right? Not destroyable at all. And there is one of the logic used there is the continuous recollection as I is there, right? So I is indeed eternal. So that talks about the time aspect, not limited by time. Verse 6 is Sarvagataha, all pervading, right? So the inert universe can never be experienced without my consciousness, right? So here, one of the things I have kind of taken as a key thing is to understand that it is knowing that leads to experience. So when we just say, I experience the Jagat, I experience the Jagat, that is, we are able to say that only from knowing, right? And knowing is directly related to jnana, consciousness, right? So that is all pervading is what verse 6 talked about. And verse 7, so all pervading means not limited by space. So not limited by space and time is over. Now in verse 7, it is the description of not limited by objects. So when we say not limited by objects, we are always looking at this, right? When we say this, idam, right? So we already confine it to a limited object, right? But here the author clearly talks about advaya. I am the non-dual. That means there is no second. The moment you say there is this, or you say this is an object, that means it is not everything else. So you have to understand that. So when we say this, that means there is something that it is not this also, right? So there is nothing like that. I am non-dual. So that is the declaration in verse 7. And then to substantiate it, also they bring in the argument about relationship, sambandha, right? So that is what now we were seeing in the last two classes. And sambandha being the conventional sambandhas is of two types, samyoga and what is the other one? Sambandha, samyoga and
Samavaya.
Yeah. Right. So it is neither of that conventional relationships apply to the consciousness. Right. Therefore, the conclusion is Vedanta brings out the conclusion, therefore, as a superimposition, which is adhyasa type of relationship. Right. So it is a adhyasa where we talk about between two orders of reality, right? So that is so all the conventional relationship is within the same order of reality, and that we have clearly negated as not applicable for describing how the inert objects are connected with consciousness, right? So you can't bring in that because consciousness is not an object of experience, right? So therefore, the only conclusion Advaita brings about or Vedanta brings about is this relationship through adhyasa, right? So the whole world is therefore seen as an adhyasa, a superimposition in consciousness. Right? So that is the only possible relationship between consciousness and the inert Jagat. Because the Jagat, we have seen already that it is inert, right? And we are going to see more after this to negate all the inert or anatmas. We are going to see from the next verse. So this is how we can see that through these 6 verses, verses 2 to 7, there is a clear declaration that I am Satchidananda, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, and how I am not limited by Desha, Kala, and Vastu. And this not limited by Vastu is a clear indication of non-duality. That's it.
Shobha?
I just wanted to add to that. So the Kavi uses different types of lakshanams to establish this, the aikyam between Brahman and Atma, right? So the Swarupa lakshanam and Tathastha lakshanam, then Nityatvam, etc. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that.
Good. Anybody else want to add anything?
The rope and the snake, it's only it's an imagination. It's avidya due to ignorance. So the actual this thing is there is no such thing as snake. It's only the rope is mistaken as this thing. So the same thing. So Brahman adhyas, because of ignorance, we superimpose things on Brahman and then start imagining. This could be an addition.
Correct. So this is what he's been trying to do. All of you are bringing it out. First, he's tried saying what is the Swarupa of Brahman, Atma, and Swarupa of I are the same. Satchidananda. Then he went on to talk about the fact that there is Jagat Karan. Brahman is the Jagat Karan, I'm also Jagat Karan. Therefore, Brahman and I are the same. Another aspect of this Aikyam. Then he went on to talk about Nityatvam, which Shobha also mentioned. And then, as you mentioned, in the 4 and 5 and 6, I think it was in Sarvagatatvam, all pervading, all pervading. And in this, what he's trying to show is there is nothing other than Brahman and there is nothing other than I. They are Brahman and I are the same, both are Advaita. Aikya Vastu, the only one. And we've been discussing so far in this about 2 aspects of this. The verse itself says, Nahi bhanadrite sattvam narte bhanam chitochitaha chitya sambandhopi nadhya sadrite tena aham advayaha. Conclusion, tena aham advayaha. That Brahman is Advaya, I am also Advaya. I am that Brahman. There is no difference. They are the same. And he does that by saying that anything without the bhanam cannot have easiness, cannot exist. And went through some examples, some arguments on that as well. Nahi bhanat rite, without bhana, without the visibility of it, not visibility, not in the sense of sight, see, but the availability for the jnanam, nothing, satyam is not possible. Satyam is easiness, is not possible. Existence is not possible. The argument also was that the easiness can be, what about things which you don't know or you don't see? It doesn't matter if I don't know, I don't see. Somebody would have seen or can see. At some time, somebody has seen, or sometime in the future, somebody can see. All that is valid. But it is knowable. Therefore, what is bhanam is only what is satyam. And then it went on to some discussion on the relationship between this Jagat and Brahman. What kind of relationship can they have? And that's what he mentioned. Sanyoga is possible, Samaya is not possible, Samyoga is not possible, Karya Sambandham is not possible. None of these regular things which we see is possible in between Brahman and the Jagat. And as he mentioned, because Jagat is another order of reality. You cannot have, let us say, is a scorpion bite in your Jagrata Avastha and hope to get some medicine in the dream. It will not work. In fact, Swami Paramatmananda has an even more interesting example. He says one fellow was looking for a dream girl to marry. So he dreamt of a girl in his dream. How can he marry her? There are different orders of reality. Although he calls her his dream girl, but she's literally in the dream. So there is no connection. But if somebody insists, no, there may be connection, the best we can do is adhyasa. Later, I'm sure Swamiji will also take it up, saying, what adhyasa? How can there be adhyasa there also? It is only to satisfy you, I'm saying adhyasa. So we will read this further and see what Swamiji has to say. So continue the reading, Jagdishanji. From the point.
We'll have to start from the last paragraph of page 95.
Yeah.
Someone objects, no, clay is not the pot. There must be some sambandha. We say,
because we finished the last reading by Swamiji saying, there is no difference between clay and pot. Pot is clay. But the key is, clay is not pot. Everything in the Jagat is only the Brahman or Atma. Atma is none of them. That is the key to understand. But he says, no, there are two different things. Pot is different, clay is different. How can you say that pot is the clay? There has to be sambandha of some kind. If they are the same, there's no sambandha. No? There's no need of relationship. It is the same. You can't say, for example, even in mathematics, if you say, what is the relationship between 3 and 9? The relation between 3 and 9 is the square of 3. But what is the relation between 3 and 3? There is no relation. 3 is 3. No. They are different. What is different from clay? Because they look different. They have different names, different functions. How can you say they're the same? So there must be a relationship. That is where we're starting the reading. Yeah.
We say your whole drishti is different. That is why you are looking for a sambandha. When you look for a sambandha, you discover it is not samyoga, it is not samavaya, it is not karana karya, and it is not tadatmya.
Tadatmya.
Then what?
You understand, no? All of you understand tadatmya? Would anybody care to explain what is tadatmya?
One becoming other.
No. That's not tadatmya.
No.
Is that...
Yeah, go ahead, Palsri.
Sorry, Shobha. Is that the property of a substance
No.
that's inseparable?
So, tadatmya is, in fact, Sanskrit grammar, so who study Sanskrit would know there's something called tadatmya.
Swamiji, is it superimposition?
Is it Tad Atman?
Not even superimposition.
Swamiji, is it Tad Atman?
I don't know how to break
Like,
that up.
is it related with vritti, which...
No. Let me explain. Tadatmya is when two things are so inextricably together, then you can't separate them. So what happens? the classic example of Tadatmya given in Shastra is a red hot iron ball.
Hmm.
An iron ball by itself cannot be seen in the darkness. But if it is red hot, it has now acquired the property of heat. So heat and iron are together now. That red hot iron ball can be seen in the dark. But you can't physically separate it. I can't take out heat from there. If we take out, only iron is left. That is Tadatmya. Yeah, we can break it into Tadatmya, but then to explain that also, it also be difficult. I'm not getting into that. So there is Tadatmya. So that Tadatmya Sambandha is not there. Samavaya Sambandha is not there. Karanaka Sambandha is not there. Sanyoga Sambandha is not there. Then what is the Sambandha? Yeah, can we continue?
Could it be intrinsic quality, Swamiji? Intrinsic quality? Intrinsic quality?
No. The intrinsic quality of fire is, for example, heat.
What?
But that's not the intrinsic quality of this Tadatmya Vastu, which is iron and fire.
Iron, the iron ball intrinsic quality is cold, no?
That is the Tadatmya, yeah.
So we say your drishti is different. That is why you are looking at for sambandha. When you look for a sambandha, you discover it is not samyoga, it is not samavaya, it is not karana karya, and it is not tadatmya. Then what kind of sambandha is it? Because you want the sambandha, therefore I say adhyasika sambandha. Adhyasika sambandha. And a nama rupa superimposition upon this clay. Because you are looking at clay as gatha, it is a superimposition. And you cannot say, I do not like this superimposition. Then why do you look at it that way? If you do not like it, then better say it is clay. What is clay? Do you understand the drishti? Therefore, when we give an answer that it is adhyasika sambandha, is purely parisesha. Parisesha means there is no other way to explain it. Pariseshyat, it is anirvachaniya. Then someone says, but it is not logical. How can it be logical? It cannot be logical. That is the beauty of it. So that illogicality is our alankara. That is our embellishment. Only then there is Advaita Siddhi. The illogicality makes Advaita work. Logicality will not work in Advaita because there is no logical Dvaita. What can I do? If we can logically prove Dvaita, then we can say there can be logical Advaita, if at all possible. Dvaita is illogical. When Dvaita looks logical to someone, Advaita looks illogical. Dvaita is illogical. The pot is illogical. And therefore, the Jagat is illogical. But he thinks Dvaita is logical. That is what is called Maya, Avaranam. Do you understand? Therefore, it's purely the drishti when we say all that is here is Brahman. So that is why there is what is called as Prauda Vedanta. They will not answer any question. They do not require to. You ask them. Question. Ye Jagat kaise aaya? How did this universe come about? Answer. Which Jagat you are talking about? Ye Jagat kya hai? Ye sab Brahma hai. Ye sab आप ही हैं, आप ही हैं. What is this Jagat? All this is Brahman. It is all you. If you try to get something out of him, question. But we see this Jagat, what about it? Answer. This is coming from Maya. Question. What is Maya? Answer. आपका प्रश्न है ना, ये माया है. और कोई माया नहीं है. This question you have raised is Maya. There is no other Maya. I read the footnote. There in the next few sentences.
That is nothing. When you say it takes some talks in Hindi.
Here, and the next few sentences, Swamiji is using some expressions in Hindi language, and what follows is, in parenthesis, is the English translation. If the drishti is only Brahma drishti, and the person answers that from that drishti, this is how the answers will be. If they change the drishti, then they have to explain what is experienced. Then they have to oblige. Shrishti prakriya has to be accepted. This is the prakriya. Prakriya is not the vastu. You are asking about prakriya and he is talking about vastu. You are questioning the prakriya, really speaking. All questions are on prakriya. And he is talking about vastu. He is right. But you want a prakriya. You want to know how all this has come about. And in his drishti, nothing has come about. Then what answers can you expect?
See, by now, all of us understand mithya. We know what mithya is. We also know that the entire jagat is
Mithya.
mithya. But mithya means what? Jagat is still there. It is a situation where it is sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. It is still there. When it is mithya, then you have to, who are wanting to learn the truth, we have to explain to him, his first question will be, what is this jagat? How does it come about? Why does it keep changing? What is the purpose of the jagat? What you should achieve in the jagat? Everything will be around that. That is how we start the questioning. So we have to first give him a response to that. Otherwise, he might not understand and go away. Straight away we tell him that this jagat is not real. He'll probably go away. And he'll be the loser. But that is not the job of a teacher or of Shastra. It is to try and help people understand. So what does Shastra do? It comes up with a model, a prakriya, which says, this is how the jagat came about. There was only Brahman. Hey, Saumya, there was only this, there was nothing else. Then what happened? Then through the concept of Maya, the Panchabhutas came in their Sukshma form. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, etc., etc. Then they combined to create their Sthula form. Because Sthula Akasha, Sthula Vayu, Sthula Agni, etc. And these in turn became the entire Jagat. Okay, so this person who started his quest has got some kind of an answer. Whether he has further questions on that is not the issue. He has an answer. So he is then willing to look deeper into it. At some point, when he is ready or she is ready, then you can tell him that this is all only as though. The whole Jagat we've been studying all this time and all the models that you've been studying, it is only as though. It is not real. Then you trace it back all the way to Maya and say Maya is not a separate object. It is not even real. Maya is mithya. So what have we done? You have helped that person get over the initial hump of the understanding, and when the person is relatively ready, you say that this, what I told you about the Jagat earlier, you relocate it. This is what is called mithya. So this whole process is the prakriya. Karana Karya Prakriya. And whatever question this fellow is asking is within this. He's only asking about the Prakriya itself. He is not looking at the drishti. And the person who is answering him, he says, look, change your drishti. Look at it not from the Vyavaharika drishti, Mithya drishti, look at it from the Satya drishti. And therefore, all this discussion will come. I can see Swamiji has some very nice dialogue developing in this. Let's see what he says. Continue, please.
Questioner. Swamiji, originally there was Brahman. How did it become a samsari?
Straight away, his answer to the question is, you said there's only Brahman. But I've seen so many sansaris, including I. How did that happen? He's straight away gone into this. Yeah.
Oh, Swamiji, if it has become a samsari, can I say you are Brahman? Tat Tvam Asi? I cannot. Tat Tvam Asi Mahavakya is not possible because you have already become a samsari. Brahman has become a samsari. Some people will talk about the ascending of man, descending of man, meaning you have come down from Brahman to samsara, and then you have to get back to Brahman. A whole reverse process. Through a reverse process, you have to become Brahman. This is not Vedanta. We do not say that Brahman has become a samsari. Tat Tvam Asi means that you have not become a samsari.
Brahman has no akara,
Satyam
no
Jnana.
properties, no nothing. You say from that Brahman, top, all these samsaris fell down, came down from that Brahman. Absolutely not correct. Brahman cannot become samsari. Brahman is Brahman. But Swamiji, I am a samsari. No. What you think of as a samsari is your
Imagination.
Sanghata. Because that is the one that is interacting with the Jagat, which is samsara. You are not a samsari. You are Brahman. That doesn't make sense to me, Swamiji. I am struggling to grasp that concept. Continue. You will get it. Yeah.
Questioner. If I have not become a samsari, how can I feel that I am a samsari?
Asking the same thing.
Swamiji, that's your feeling, all right. You can feel anything. One fellow can feel, I am a rat. It does not mean he becomes a rat. Feeling is not Brahma. It is not Jnanam. Feeling is anything but Brahma. Feeling is like that. Therefore, feeling has got its own reality, but it's not Brahma.
One fellow somehow got the notion in his head that he is a rat. And he was so afraid to go out because there were street cats there. So all his relatives Jabardasti took him to a psychiatrist. And after several sessions, he got cured. And they took him home. All his relatives took him home. Even then, he won't go out. Aren't you cured? You think you're a rat now? No, I'm cured completely. The psychiatrist cured me totally from my thinking. Then why are you not going out? There are cats outside. But you're not a rat.
They must know.
I know I'm not a rat, but those cats don't know, no? Cats still. I'm a rat.
I know that I am not a rat, but that do the
I
cats
have
know.
now come to know because the psychiatrist taught me, but nobody's taught those cats. Yeah.
Okay. But then why do I feel like this? Swamiji, why do you feel like that? Do you understand that you are Brahman? Questioner, yes, I understand that. Swamiji, then why do you feel like that? Questioner, I do not understand that I am Brahman. Swamiji, then understand, I do not understand is the only problem. Understand? There is no other problem. Questioner, suppose I am Brahman. Swamiji, I say you are Brahman. Do you understand this or not? The questioner said, now I understand. Okay, then, what is your question? How did I become a samsari? Is that a question? If you say that you have understood, it's not a question at all. Brahmana is to be understood as it says. You have not yet understood what it says. It says you are Brahman. That is what you have to understand. Questioner. No, I have understood, Swamiji. Then where is the problem? If you are Brahman, that's it, and you have understood that. Questioner. No, but how did this Brahman become a samsari? You can see how this can be. Coming back to this topic.
This is an amazing this thing. A person, all of us start with a certain assumption about I. It's a very strong assumption. It doesn't go easily. We know that. It is like if you hit a nail into a piece of wood, 1 stroke, 2 stroke, 3 stroke, nail is gone in. Now how do you take it out? Nail is sunk into the wood. Very tough to take it out. Putting it in is very simple. Like that, we have also got our notions. And that notion doesn't go. No, Swamiji, when I'm in the class, I understand perfectly. Yeah. Then what happens afterwards? Afterwards, I become a samsari. So in the class, you're a Brahman. You're Brahman? Yes, I'm Brahman. And then I go out. My samsari makes sure that I know I'm a samsari. You're therefore Brahman for 1 hour? Yes, I'm a Brahman for 1 hour. Rest of the time, I am samsari. You can imagine how it goes. All what each one of you going through is what? 2 classes a week? So 2 hours in a week, you are clear. Rest of the time, what happens? So all this is very good preparation. It's like, to remove that nail, you have to do a lot of preparatory work. You need the appropriate tool to remove the nail. You need perhaps other methods of getting the surface ready in a way fashion that the tool can enter and pull out the nail. All those are preparation only. Get into a situation when that knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, in the first place, it doesn't get stuck at all. And even if it gets stuck, it's not assimilated. Because then I know Brahman. I have understood Brahman. Like this fellow who was asking this question. I have understood Brahman. Then who are you? I am Devadatta.
Right.
Putra.
Devadatta.
What happened to Brahman? So that requires really time, preparation, all the adhikaritvam that is required, all the obstacles need to be removed on the way. All that work has to be done. It's not something that will happen 1 day, 2 days. It might take more than 1 janma. I would suggest the fact that you're all attending these kind of shravanam indicates that this process has been going on not only in this janma, but from before. The process started perhaps several janmas before, several manushya janmas before, not just janmas. Then only you are even able to come to a class like this. It might take more janmas, we don't know. Yes, Shubha.
So, I think Swami Paramarthananda also gives the example of if you want to paint a surface, you have to make sure the surface is ready, that it can take on that paint. So you use a sandpaper to prepare the surface.
Absolutely.
And otherwise that paint doesn't stick. So essentially you have to unlearn everything you've learned about yourself to
Absolutely correct.
to absorb this knowledge.
That is why Bhagavan told Arjuna, he kept asking why, if the path to moksha is jnanam, if the way to gain moksha is jnanam, why do you ask me to do this ghora karma? Because you have to go through the process of karma yoga. For the process to be complete and get chitta shuddhi, get rid of the control that raga desha exercises on us, get hold of oneself to the extent of saying, all the shamadama, shatka, sampati is in our hands, in our grip. Those are all preparation. Those are what she's talking about. Getting ready a painting, you need to prepare the surface. So much work needs to be done. And even some bit of shravanam is also required before this knowledge is assimilated, before it becomes I. Till then, it's like many of the Western scholars. If you read Western scholars, Wendy Holmes, Dr. Pollock, you get all those books, read them. Great scholars. But this preparation is not complete. So when they talk about, and they studied Sanskritam, great Sanskrit Vyakaranas, but when they study Vedanta, they try to do it on their own. And then they will have some very Andeneva Niyamata Minamana Yatandaha, blind leading the blind. They also have huge followers, people doing doctoral theses under them in Columbia University and other places. They don't know because their drishti is all wrong. They are not looking at the concept of I. They are studying everything as an object, as if we are studying botany or psychology or whatever it is that you're studying. Great depth. But they can never be able to teach the right thing to their students. The Upanishad says, no, then Shastra recognizes this. Shastra says, Andeneva niyamana yathandaha. Yatha andaha. Andan niyamana. Like you carry with you blind people and you are yourself blind. That is the status of all those people. Because the preparation is incomplete. Yes, Kavya.
Swamiji, my question is that when we talk of Vedanta, there is like what makes this understanding, there's Antakarna Shuddhi, and then when you study Bhagavad Gita, so you also understand how to live life emotionally on the emotional level, and then that also like it gives you a whole guide of purifying your day-to-day life, your experience or exchange with the outside world. But when we see all these traditions of aghoris and all these, and in yoga we have like the concept of penance, tapasya is so much emphasized. So is there any relation between them in Vedanta? Do we, because as and in even in Jainism there is so much of tapas that is done. So are there any
Your voice is
relations
breaking.
to those,
Yeah,
like to
I
it
missed
faster or
quite
things
a
like
bit
that?
of that.
Oh, sorry.
I missed quite a bit
Can
of
you hear
that,
me now?
Kavya, but if I understand the gist of your question, it is what about these people who do penance, who do various other kind of tapas? What
Yes.
about them? Will they get moksha? Tapas will not give you moksha. It's very clear. Only jnanam can give you moksha. But if the tapas can prepare you for it, for example, much of the yoga that people who go to Isha Foundation, a lot of people, Amitabh, go to Isha Foundation. What they're gaining, they're obviously gaining something there, not jnana. There is no teaching of Vedanta there. But it is giving something to them. And if that's something that they're getting in terms of a yoga or in terms of a way of life, in terms of following dharma, all of that will help them. Sooner or later, in this janma, next janma, wherever. The whole idea of bhakti comes from there. Bhakti is what? You reach out to that Ishvara who is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman. And you don't reach out necessarily for saying, let me win the lottery. That is not the idea of the bhakti eventually. Bhakti is to pray to Ishvara saying, you are all knowing, you are all knowledge. I'm struggling to understand. I have Shraddha in the Shastra. Shastra says, you and I are the same. And that much I have reached after many, many, many months, years perhaps. But I still don't understand. Help me understand. This is the ultimate prayer. So all of these prayers can be in terms of serious religious activity, penances. People do Gayatri, for example. You can do Gayatri Punascharanam. You know what is Punascharanam? Gayatri has 24 matras, 24 syllables. Om Bhurbhuvasva is not really part of the Gayatri. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. There are 24 syllables starting with Om. When you do this japa, $24 lakh times in your life, you get what you achieve what is called Punascharanam. Great punya. And every punya that you do is meant for giving you more and more opportunity to gain the jnana. Okay, some punya might take you to other lokas, etc. But that you go in the loka and come back. Exhaust some other punya. But mainly the idea of a punya that you want to earn is to get you better and better prepared for gaining this knowledge, better and better positioned to access this knowledge, better and better positioned to access an appropriate guru. All of that is the purpose of any punya that you earn. So if tapas can give you the punya, go ahead. If this Purashanam is also tapas only. 24 lakh times, if you imagine how much time it will take you to do that. It is tapas. So all that will help in this process. Ultimately, this, what we're trying to do now, is the only jnana. All these first 6 verses we saw, how we're trying to understand that I and Brahman are the same in terms of Swarupa, in terms of being Jagat Karanam, in terms of being Nitya. All of that we've been trying to understand. The only purpose is to understand Aham Brahmasmi. There is no other purpose. Yes, Divyansh.
Swamiji, you said that like only God knows when we will get this jnana. Maybe it will take another lifetime or what. But Gita Ma said that Pujya Swamiji used to say that like for the 3 years course, you do what I tell you, and it is my job to show you. So
Correct.
isn't that a big big statement?
No. There's no contradiction. Who are the people who Swamiji said this to? People who have come to attend a 3-year course, dropping everything else in the samsara. People who, from the perspective of the samsara, have been successful, have earned money, have led a luxurious life, have earned fame, have earned a lot of other things. And they have dropped all that and decided to sit at the feet of the Guru for 3.5, 4 years. What do you think is their readiness? It is very, very high. And before anybody joined the course with Swamiji, they also went through a process of allowing Swamiji to determine how ready the person is. But when I said just now that how long it will take, it will depend on you, how well prepared you are. I don't know if I told you the story of Narada. Narada was flitting between Loka to Loka, no? And on one of his journeys, he met one person who fell at his feet and said, "Oh Muni, you keep going from here to here to here to here. Can you, when you go to the Brahmaloka, please find out how many more janmas I have before I get moksha?" So Narada Muni said, "Yes, I'll find out." And he went on and he found one more person asking the same question. "When you go, will you please find out how many more janmas I need to have before I gain moksha?" So look, I'll find out. So on the way back, he came. The first person he saw, he came running to Narada Muni, fell on his feet and said, "Did you please find out?" He said, "Yes, I've checked up. You need 4 more janmas." This guy said, "My God, 4 janmas. This janma itself is not finishing. You're saying another janma and another janma and another janma and another janma. My God, this is horrible." He kept crying. And he went on, met the second guy. He also came, fell at Narada's feet and said, "How long will it take?" He said, "You see the tamarind tree there? You know, tamarind tree has very small leaves.
As many.
As many janmas as there are leaves in the tamarind tree." And this was jumping for joy. That means only finite janmas. I'm going to get moksha. I'm going to make it get moksha. It depends how prepared you are. How ready is the person? But the assurance from Bhagavan is, once you step into this path, Bhagavan uses the word achirenadi. Achirenadi gacchati. You will get it before long. How much is how long? On you. How quickly can you get ready? So what Gitama is saying and what I'm saying is the same. There's no contradiction. Okay? This whole thing is absolutely logical. It is just a matter of ensuring that I understand how it is presented, which is why it's so important to do the Shravanam Mananam regularly. All the other inputs I get, continue to reinforce my samsaritvam. All that has to be accounted for. Yes, Kavya.
Swamiji, I just had like this thing that I heard very recently. I was in Rishikesh ashram, and the Swamini Amma there, she said like one time. I'm just sharing this story because it really sat so deeply with me that one time someone came with their kundali to Swami Puja Swamiji and asking which janma I'll get moksha will it be this? And then Swamiji sent him back saying, yes, you'll get it in this Janma itself. Then Swamiji asked, okay, what do you have to see in the astrological chart to say? Then Swamiji replied that it is, everyone will get moksha because it is not your prarabdha, it is your purushartha. So that I always I try to recall it daily now.
A certain prarabdha is there for sure. Because as we saw in the other class, I don't know how many of you were there, your inclinations, your samskara, all that will push you in a certain direction. And where do you get the samskara from? From previously done karma. That is what Bhagavan is so confidently telling Arjuna. Kalyanakrit never goes waste. It takes you in the same direction. The fact that all of you are trying to understand, attending Vedanta classes, there is something pushing you in that direction. And then on that, you have to use your Purushartha. How clear are you on what you want? If one gets into a kind of company where the Purushartha is much more to do with Artha, for example, and competing with others, saying, he bought a new car, I need to buy a bigger new car. Or words to that, or things to like that. Then that whatever inclinations you already had, either you can buttress it and increase it, or you can drag it back. That is your Purushartha. So Purushartha becomes extremely important. And how strong your samskaras are, how strong your Purushartha is, how tempted one gets because of wrong thinking, all that will determine which direction you will go. But with all this, I'm still saying, Bhagavan is very clear. You will get. Don't give up. Even if sometimes one feels that, this is not very clear to me, even then don't give up. It will come. It will come. Just get into the right mood of following it up. Paripranena pariprashnena sevaya. Bhagavan already said that. Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You will get. So none of us has to worry about whether I will get or not. You will. How long will it take? Achirenadhigachati. And all this we are trying to understand is only this. And Swami keeps introducing this dialogue with somebody who is struggling to understand, who still keeps looking at it from the perspective of samsara. And he's trying to change the drishti, relook at things differently. Remove your clouded spectacles. You will get it. Oh, where do we stop? Where do we start in the next class? Okay. That's a good point to stop here. Coming back to the topic, sambandha between vastu and object is only drishti. Okay. We'll start
We'll start from 100, page number 100.
Yeah, page number 100. We'll start from the next class. Oh, in the meanwhile, there is a message here from Ashokji. For 24 lakh Gayatri chanting with 204 in a day, it takes 32 years to complete. Look at the commitment it requires.
How many per day?
He has suggested 204 per day.
Adine 204. The 1008 pulame. If your target is,
if you can do
generally,
if your target is, if your target is 22 lakhs, then the least you should do is 1008.
I know somebody who's done this 600 times a day for many, many years. Anyway, that's another year.
204 is the minimum prescribed, sir.
Your father has done Gayatri 600 Gayatri a day for so many years. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Gurubhyo Namah.
धन्यवादाः नमस्कारः पुनः